Welcome, everyone, to this most incredible gathering of crones, hags, and elder wise women of power. We are gathering together so that we can explore the richness of this time in our life. It can be a very long time for a lot of us, from menopause to our passing, which might happen when we're even in our hundreds. So it's important that we can, explore what's going on for us, reach into our wisdom, realize our contributions. What do we really want to do? How do we want to contribute to the world at this point in our life? And also to celebrate all of this. I'm Alison Palmer and I am your host. Today, I am absolutely delighted to introduce to you Nilima Bhat. Now, please read Nalima's bio underneath here because she has done, well, she's done so much, but she's also doing so much. And it's very, very impressive work, I feel. That said, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her so that you have some context. So, Nilima is a leader in the fields of personal mastery, leadership, gender equality, and well-being. She's a Shivananda yoga teacher. She's a yoga practitioner, a dancer. She's a co-author of two books, Shakti Leadership and My Cancer Is Me. She's also the founder of the Global Shakti Fellowship Program for Women Changemakers and much more. So please do read underneath here. We've got just a super topic that we're going to be talking about today, which is Q3 Reginas, why women in their third quarter will save the world. Wow. So welcome, Nalima.
Thanks for having me, Alison. I'm excited by the topic, just hearing you speak it out loud.
Well, I think it's an amazing topic. In fact, it's like a call out to all of us to say, "Hey, come on, what are we going to do now? What are we going, what's our purpose here?" And you've got some really brilliant sharing and wisdom to discuss with us today. So, first of all, okay, I think we need to start with understanding who are Q3 Reginas and why it is you call them that or call
Mm.
us that.
Yeah, so I was inspired to create this title from the work of Aviva Wittenberg Cox. She's an amazing leader in whole generational space, gender space, and she talks about four-quarter lives, 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. There's a good chance in this century we're all going to live to 100. Given modern medicine, and whether we want to or not is another matter. But we can, and we may well. In which case, it's important to plan for these different phases of life, right? And the discovery that we're also arriving into a time where the patriarchy is ending, and we really need more women in leadership. We need more feminine values and behaviors like caring and sharing and empathy and compassion, collaboration, healthy feminine qualities to balance healthy masculine qualities such as confidence and discernment and decisiveness and strength and all the rest of it, regardless of gender. We all need to have these balanced qualities to bring to leadership. Now, women can bring these qualities because innately we have a lot of feminine qualities. Those of us who've given birth to children or have had to mother a project in some way, we know how to tap on those feminine qualities. Now, if you're in your first quarter, you are still busy, studying and finding your voice in the world, coming into your own. And then if you're in your second quarter, it's motherhood and taking care of the school runs and all the rest of it, and you're kind of building a little nest egg for yourself. You're not yet fully financially or even, I would say, emotionally independent still, if you are in a family situation and you're looking after everybody else. Now when you come into Q3, which is between 50 and 75, you've suddenly hit your freedom years. Even though it's called menopause and people dread that, and women can have a difficult time, there is enough help available to transition through that physiological phase more gracefully and gently. You don't have to suffer through it. But more importantly, psychologically and financially, women come into their own in this stage, right? Because by this time, they have become sufficiently financially independent if they have played their cards right and, taken care of themselves financially. Also, the empty nester syndrome has now set in, right? Kids have left home. You don't have to be full-time mom or caregiver. Chances are by now, even your parents may have passed on, right? So suddenly a woman is in her freedom and she can now step into herself for her own purpose. All those dreams and ways in which she wished to bring her unique purpose to the world now becomes possible. So this phase is when a woman becomes the queen, she becomes the sovereign, right? And the Spanish word for queen is regina. And so I don't buy this whole thing about you kind of fade out of life now that you're not in childbearing years anymore. That's a patriarchal value put on a woman in her third quarter, right? But if you put on pure value into a woman in her third quarter, it would be, here is a force of nature who is now finally free to be me, right? Each of us, right? So I really think we need these feminine, and a woman in her third quarter doesn't have to conform so much anymore. She's not, really looking to meet social standards of beauty or, anything of what a woman should be, right? She's been there, done that. And now she can just be herself.
Yeah.
And these women are finally free and empowered to bring their voice, bring their experience, bring their values, bring their behaviors to leadership. And we know as we record this call, we know what's going on in the world. We may be on the brink of World War III. Why? Because the world is run by a bunch of men in Q3. And I'm sorry to say, a bunch of men who haven't integrated their healthy feminine and their healthy masculine side. They are psychologically adolescent, and toxic masculinity is being displayed. So I'm not naming people. It's not about the individuals. It's about a psychological way in which leaders today are leading the world. And it is toxic, it's hyper masculine, and we urgently need a new style of leadership. And
Wow.
these Reginas can bring that.
Wow, I love this. First of all, I love how you're really reframing this point of our life in a way that is, it's just outright powerful. There's no, I can't think of the word. We're not embarrassed about owning our power. We're not trying to hide it any longer. It's like, no, you're giving us that permission really to just fully embody it and be it in the world. And I love that because that's like flipping the patriarchal view of, like you said, we're no longer valued because we can't create new life any longer, even if we wanted to, and quite a lot of people don't want to anyway when they're younger. But at that point, the patriarchy, the toxic patriarchy, sorry, tells us that, well, we've done our bit and thank you very much. Please, stop making a fuss. And that's, in my opinion, that's why menopause is largely seen as like an unnecessary fuss by cranky women who are just, hormonally out of control. But no, it's us going through this this emergence into this power time, which I love that. And I also, really um, love that you're talking about leadership and bringing in those qualities of the feminine leadership. And I was thinking, sometimes we talk about this or people talk about this, but given that the patriarchy, and you just described it so beautifully, I think, in adolescence, acting like adolescence, and totally toxic. Given that that's the dominant form of leadership, it feels like pretty tricky to actually say, hey, we've got a different way of being leaders in the world. So let's explore this, So when we're moving into owning this power and stepping into leadership, where can we serve best? What domains do we serve best in?
Frankly, I think it starts from home, and starting with equality in your own home, in your own family, and modeling that for your daughters and sons and so on. If I look at where the big hotspots are, I think women are critical to the economy, ecology, technology, and peace building, right? If I look at these four areas, and if we have Q3 Reginas really step into creating the new models of economy, right? Step into saving the planet and its environmental crisis. Technology doing, right now it's the people who are coding are very masculine and patriarchal in their thinking, and so coding can also create bias. So as the technology, advances so rapidly, it's even more important that it is coded for in a balanced way, with healthy masculine and healthy feminine values and behaviors built into it, right? Principles built into it. And then peace building. Look at what's happening right now, and where are the women standing up and saying, "Stop it! This is enough. We're not going to send any more of our sons as cannon fodder, right? And enough. We say no to war. Let's figure out the peace talks. Let's have mothers beyond borders. Let's have grandmothers beyond borders." So in the Native American traditions, they have the concept of the Council of Grandmothers, right? That it's the grandmothers who come together as decision makers. There's no one leader, it's the council. And they make decisions based on what's good for 7 generations. Anything is understood in its consequences over 7 generations. If it's good for the next 7 generations, then it passes as a yes, right? So we need to learn from all these wisdom traditions, what's worked well, and how do we now adapt that to our modern leadership around the world,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. And yes, I was thinking about peacekeeping, and often maybe we buy into the devaluing of our own power, in that often we think, oh, what can I do? Little old me. Better leave it to the young people to do the protesting, and or to do the peacekeeping, which they can be the same, or they can be, slightly expressed differently, perhaps. But the other day I was thinking, wouldn't it be amazing if women all over the world, like the elder women, the Q3s, as you say, and the Q4s as well, just said, okay, we're not going to allow this. We're going to get in the way. I mean, I don't know what would happen, because the reality is that it's very frightening, and we would be facing extreme violence. But I wonder what the path is for us in this time. How we find our courage to do this, how we find that strength within to do it, even when we don't know the consequences for us personally.
So, I'm a follower of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. I live in Pondicherry. And one of Mother's calls to all of us is, make of us thy hero warriors, right? Who will fight for the new world that is waiting to be born, and fight against the old that seeks to endure and is obsolete, actually, right? So how do we become hero warriors? And a lot of my work draws from Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey and Maureen Murdoch's Heroine's Journey, that this is not for the faint-hearted. This is a rite of passage. This, initiation doesn't only happen from adolescence to adulthood. Initiation then happens from adulthood into elderhood. And so we women need to initiate ourselves, right? We need to sit in circles of women and we need to give each other courage. Do the rituals where we step into the new phase of our lives saying, I am showing up as a hero warrior for this time, right? And I'm going to meet my fears and I'm not going to be a dead warrior anytime soon. I'm going to play this smart, right? Where is my area of influence? Where can I have impact? I will start there. Don't do anything stupid and foolhardy, right? But each one of us has agency somewhere. And so you begin there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me personally, I would love us to extend that beyond thinking in terms of our agency with our grandchildren, which is a very important role. And yet, there's more, I feel. It might just be me, but I feel like we need to look. Yes, our family is really important. And as you so rightly said, start with our family because we can't be one way with our family and then another way out there. So, but I would love for us to do what you're saying, get into circle and do that work and do that initiation, whatever it is we need to move into this courage so that we can go out. I guess it's perhaps marrying with our divine masculine qualities as well, rather than just emphasizing the feminine ones, which are more, internal or insular perhaps, but that external
Yeah.
drive. I wonder what
Let,
your thoughts are.
let me give you two pieces of wisdom around this.
Yeah.
One is in the Indic system, they talk about these 4 quarter lives as the 4 ashramas of life. So brahmacharya is when you are the celibate young bachelor person. Then grihastha is when you are a householder, having the babies, earning the paycheck for the whole family, putting kids through school, etc. Then comes vanaprasth, where they say you're done being the gardener to your own garden in your little home. And now it's time to become a gardener to life's larger garden, right? Now you have to go out. That is your dharma. Go out there and share what you know and what you have beyond your family. So the Q3 Regina is in that stage, right? And after that comes the 4th quarter where it's called sannyas. Like, okay, now you've done everything you could in the world. Now give yourself permission to step back, turn inward, nurture yourself, nurture your relationship with the universe and the divine and the higher self so that prepare for your transition and make your peace with everything and go for enlightenment, achieve your mukti and your moksha and your, find your enlightenment, find your divinity. So there is that phase where you go out into the world and you share with the world. So you're not supposed to just do it with your own little family. You're done doing that. Actually, you're supposed to begin from there and then take it outwards, right? So there was a second piece I'm trying to remember as you were speaking about how do we find the courage. I'm sorry, I've lost my train of thought. It'll come to me. We can keep chatting and you can maybe just edit this out and it'll come to me.
Okay, yeah, sure. So what I was thinking there was that many women in this part of life, well, particularly as they've come to, if they're lucky enough to retire, okay, at whatever age that might be, they might think, okay, I've done my bit now out in the world. It's almost like that they see that as that Q3 part, Q2 part of their life that might have extended, a bit longer than 50. And then they kind of think, no, I don't want to do anything for anybody else now. This is my time just for me. And yet that's kind of not quite what we're talking about here. So how can we understand those two dynamics that might be going on that need to say, okay, I've done all of this for everybody else. I've worked, worked, worked. And now I'm in retirement. I want to just stop. And also, how do we marry that with this, finding the courage to actually go out and share our wisdom or take action for in those four areas, whichever speaks to us, or a different area. How do we, because they're a bit conflictual, aren't they?
So I remembered what the second piece was. Barbara Marx Hubbard used to talk about when a woman is in her menstrual phase, right? She's producing eggs every month, right? And then when she comes into menopause, she becomes the egg, right? Which means she becomes that beautiful, whole and complete space where that masculine and feminine energy has come together and is capable of holding space for others to then grow and come into their wholeness from. So she has the capacity to hold the whole, right? And that is when she's no longer just leading with her feminine side. She has her masculine energy. She's done her Jungian work of individuation, hopefully by now. She should not still be the uninitiated puella eterna, right? She should have become her own beloved, her own woman, her own man, her own mother, her own daughter, her own goddess by now, right? So now that fullness is in her, and that courage to lead from that inner masculine, the beloved within, to say, I'm going to protect my Shakti, my feminine power. I'm going to provide the flame for it. I'm going to provide the banks for it. And so this full Shakti, this full feminine creative force can now go out into the world and nourish and nurture others, right? So a woman, I can well understand if she's been burned out by the patriarchy and living by those norms. She comes into her Q3 and says, oh, enough, let me just rest. There's a good chance, and by all means, take your 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. There is a good chance, if you have what it takes and you're engaged with the world and you see the pain outside in the world, life will not let you rest. Life's desire for itself will arise through you when you are recovered from your burnout of having been caregiver to everybody and everything, right? You will rise because you will rise in order to nourish yourself first. When creativity comes through you, the first person who is regenerated is yourself. And this search for the fountain of eternal youth is really finding the river of creativity that's running inside you, right?
Yeah.
So we just started a kind of community for creative flow yesterday called Saras. Saraswati is the goddess of creativity, and she's the river also. So we're all going to be women in our Q3 coming together, and we will meet in circle once a month. And it's a gift economy. Each one will share her creative talent, whether it's cooking one time, someone's dancing another time, someone showing us how to make yantras and mandalas another time. But this thing that you now have this wonderful effulgence to just be a creative use for yourself and nourish yourself with that lovely energy that comes out in such gatherings. And in the process, you can nourish others as well, right?
Yeah. Wow, that's so beautiful. I just totally love it. When you were talking, the word creativity kept coming to me, and then you started to talk about it, and so we're definitely in sync about feeling into this force this unstoppable force that's coming. And I love that you emphasize, we do need to nurture and nourish ourselves so that we're not forcing ourselves to be creative. Like, I've got to be creative. I've just retired and now I've got to be creative. It's like connecting into that deep, 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 that river of creativity that you talk about. That is just, it's just our essence, I think. And I love what you're talking about, this circle, a monthly circle live. I just think that that's so amazing. I wish that women were doing this all over the place because it highlights like how much we all have to share, whatever it is. And it builds that community and it's taking us out and it's nourishing and it can be like the ripple effect into the world, and it can also, I feel, maybe stimulate us to go further, like build our confidence in that that sharing in that circle, just build our confidence to go out and do other courageous acts.
In fact, that's a great place to start. If you say women don't know where to begin and they think, oh, I'm not good enough, where will I find the courage, the energy from? Well, creativity is a good place to start. And circle is a good place to encourage each other's creativity, right? So one lit candle can light another. One courageous heart can give courage to another heart, right? So if you begin in circle and you start sharing creativity and the energy, creativity is Shakti, right? The creative life force of the universe starts moving through you and through the heart and the hands and the gut and the mind. And not only are your cells now getting regenerated, and and eternal youth is possible for us in our attitude. They say you basically start aging the day you stop learning, right? The day you stop growing, the day you stop creating. So, creativity is the perfect antidote to aging, right? Stay youthful by keeping your creative juices going. And then, if you meet in circle and you can share what you have, like I'm a dancer, the next one I will do is I will lead everyone in the dance of the five elements. When my mother does something, she's great at party games and she'll create an amazing party game that everyone will have great fun doing and it'll be meaningful. So, even call this meaningful leisure, right? Which is, we're not just meeting to shoot the breeze or, do something meaningless. It should feel deeply soul fulfilling because only when you touch and when your creativity comes from that soul force, right, then will it nourish you and then it gives you the courage to go out there and do more. And from there, we'll start, what more can we do besides our own creative juices flowing? I think from there will come the kind of creative ideas for change that individuals and groups can come together to step up to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this creative Shakti force is, I feel that that's like almost the total answer because we don't know where that leads us,
Yeah.
but we know that and it's not about like for example, I work with clay and the finished object, yeah, it's nice to have it or nice to get there to that point, but it's the process of doing it, and I like to do it with other people. So there's the connecting and the discussion as we're all putting our fingers into what is essentially the earth. I find it a very deeply spiritual process. And we're not doing it because we definitely want to create some finished pre-designed thing at the end. And I feel like this is one of the really important aspects of this type of creativity that we're talking about here. It's the being in the process and that deep, as you rightly said, that deep soul connection and that connection and that expression of that relationship, of that beingness of our soul and with others. And so we don't know the consequences of engaging in this sort of creativity. And that's why I feel that this is like revolutionary. And I just feel so hopeful now because I see like a real pathway for us all to engage in, to be peacemakers, to just be leaders in new ways. I just absolutely adore this.
Yes, me too.
So I wanted to say something actually also about you said four different areas, domains that you feel women can serve best in. I do want to just return to this because I thought it was so interesting because most women, you know, on this summit will be in alignment with ecology and I can't remember exactly the
Economy,
peacekeeping.
ecology, technology, and peace building.
What was the first one?
Economy.
Economy. Okay. Yes, economy. But it was the technology that really leapt out at me as, oh, that's so interesting. I hadn't even considered that. And then I thought about when I use some AI to do transcriptions, and the AI does not have the coding within it to cope with the women-centered way of thinking or looking at the world. It does not have the words for the women's wisdom, for the women's spirituality. It's just not there. So it comes up with other words, you know, and so there's a lot of editing. It's so odd, and I'd never thought of the coding before at all. It is like the language. It's a language, isn't it?
And if the language is, made by men for men,
Mm.
and that's how it'll be when it shows up on your screen, right?
Yes, 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 and also the it's made by men predominantly. Well, it's made for to serve the patriarchy, to serve those values, and so you know when we're saying, well, those values they're defunct, they do not work, they're just you know this is the end of this time, and so. I have no idea, not being somebody who works in technology at that sort of level, I have no idea how that might unravel in terms of transforming this. But I just think, wow, how important that is as a global area for women. And this might speak to younger women in particular, or it might speak to us when we have conversations with younger women who might work in technology or who might work in the future in technology. And we can, I'm just thinking, this is just coming to me now, about how we might actually bring the wisdom that we have now from the feminine perspective to influence the formation of the technology in the future.
I can connect you with Cecile Moulard, who is the founder of Mixer. And she used to work with Jeff Bezos way back in France, actually. I think she set up Amazon France. She's very passionate about this subject, that we need more women in tech, conscious women leaders in tech, girls who code, et cetera, because she understands this deeply. Maybe you should get her on one of these calls.
Yeah, yeah, wow, that would be amazing. Yes. Okay, so um, do you have any other, you know, is there anything else that you feel like we haven't covered that you would really love to bring into the leadership of the us Q9, Q3s rather? Is there anything else that you know you're burning to share here?
No, I think I'm good with what I have put out there, and maybe we can talk about the free gifts and ways to follow this work and so on.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yes, I mean everybody will be wanting to know like how can I find out more about this? It's so exciting, I feel. And so you have got some gifts and so that people can go deeper and also how people can find out more about the work you do. So yes, please do share about that now.
Sure. I would love for people to receive a free gift from Shakti Leadership. It's a 10-minute presence practice. And really, if you're looking to come into your power, the first step is to get present. And people don't even know how to do that. So here's a 10-minute guided visualization, meditation, step-by-step process that puts you in a state of presence where you can feel your creative juices, your Shakti flowing through you, right? So That would be the presence practice as a free gift for people. Talking about getting more connected with the work I do around Shakti, I invite people to come on our Shakti Kumbh, which is like a Kumbh Mela for women and everything to do with Shakti. The next one is happening in India, in Odisha, in February 2026. And it's a 9-day event, so we can provide a link for people to browse more. This is a once in a lifetime event. We'll never do it again. You get to come and see the philosophy and the living traditions, these living temples where yoga is lived and practiced day in and day out, not just something that's done on a mat. So people who are the followers we just had International Yoga Day happen. People around the world who practice yoga and meditation, who want a good curated experience with real experts and master teachers, gurus, people who are going to be able to come and explain and give you initiations, right, into the practices. So please consider coming to the Shakti Kumbh in Odisha next year. And the next thing I would offer is how to become a Shakti leader. And to become your Q3 Regina is to come into your own Shakti leadership. We have a self-study foundation course. I recommend people gather in 2s or 3s or 4s or 5s and do like a group self-study, like a practice circle. It costs normally $297 US. It's a 12-module course, at the end of which you get certified as a Shakti leader. And for our listeners, I'm happy to offer a 25% discount on that. And so the links to that we can also make available.
Mm. Wow, they all sound amazing. I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, what's on my calendar for did you say February 2006?
Yeah, from the 14th to the 21st. Mahashivaratri is on the 15th, and 21st is the Mother Shri Aurobindo's birthday. So they're very special days. People will arrive on the 13th and they will leave on the 22nd, 9/9.
Wow, wow. Well, everybody, if this is speaking to you and you know if it is, follow that inner guidance, that whispering in your heart. The information and links are right below here. So they're right in front of you right now. So if it's speaking to you, then go and explore. You never know. I might see you in Orissa next year, and wouldn't that be amazing? This has been just amazing. This has been amazing. I was going to just keep saying amazing, but it has been amazing. Just this exploration and this. I feel excited as well as hopeful about our power and our ability to actually make a significant contribution to the world. And there's so many of us. We are an aging world population. And, we don't need to hide under the furniture or hide under a bushel or whatever expression you want to use. We need to come into and be this Shakti power. And I love that you've offered that 10-minute practice so that we can actually move into that space and be it. So I'm just thank you. Thank you so much, Nilima, for coming and talking about this with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison. I've enjoyed it. I think this is my first call dedicated to the subject of Q3 Reginas, and I'm so glad that we went deeper into it.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff. And everybody, thank you for coming and joining us today. Do remember that the information about Nilima's offers and adventures and all that's possible there is all below. So please do explore there. Nilima, a final thank you to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alison. It was a delight.